All right. Hey, welcome to another episode of the Practical Wealth Show. So today we're going to talk about, and over the next few episodes, we're really going to talk about money, about, personal finance, practical wealth advisors or practical wealth solutions. Actually, we restructure the name. Um, we teach people how money works. So it's my belief that what you know today will determine where you'll be at, 3, 5, 10 years from now. So your number one asset is you. And so what do you invest in? Your mindset, your skill set, and your network. Who do you know? And most importantly, who knows you? And so our goal, we call it in our system being a cashflownaire and getting to the glorious position of FU, which is passive income greater than expenses. So you have to, if you want to become financially free, financial freedom is a capability. And I'm going to say that, typical financial, what is considered conventional wisdom is not designed for you to become financially free. It's designed to create assets under management for institutions. Matter of fact, they brag about it, right? So if you look at, I was just talking to a young lady last night, and she was like, "Well, my she wants to do real estate and other stuff, and I just get the same old from the person that because all they're putting money is in equities, which is a topic for another day. But the financial institutions really have one every product built. Think about this. I want you to get back and really think for a second. It's all built with 4 rules in mind. They want your money. They want it on a regular basis, every payday, right? Every time you get paid, direct deposit, transfer to your 401k. They want it to keep it in those accounts as long as possible because they want to charge you fees for forever. Okay. And then when do they want to give it back? As slow as possible, right? So what is your goal? Your goal is financial freedom, which is passive income greater than expenses. So none of that is designed to do that. That's what you got to understand, shockingly as it seems. So you've got to, how do you fight that? One, you've got to learn, you've got to invest in your education, you got to invest in financial literacy. But financial literacy is not investing. Financial literacy is accounting. It's ability to read numbers. That's step one. The numbers tell a story. So if you can't start with your own, then you won't be able to read your business numbers. And then if you can't read your numbers, your business numbers, then you can't do a performer on real estate. You can't look at a business to see what the story the numbers are telling you. So then you're just going on hearsay, on what I call not locker room, coffee cooler talk, right? Because you don't have any evidence. You don't know you wouldn't know it if it smacked you in the face. Most people wouldn't know an investment if it came up to them and smacked them in the face, okay? Because you suffer from fear of missing out, because investing, the root of that is to investigate, right? To investigate, to cover fully. Most people aren't investigating. They don't cover fully. You listen to stuff and you hear, oh, it's going up. Oh, I better put some money in. Okay. But what I want to do is, the path is to capitalize, to save money. Okay. But saving is not a willpower thing. It needs to be automatic and systematic. So I'm going to take you through a few concepts of how to do that. See, so I've had so many people. So this is the start of the game. Okay. You have to capture wealth. You have to create a account to capture wealth. You need to, so for example, let me give you a little bit of practical knowledge. So let's say you have a job, okay? And I'm going to get my calculator out here. So let's say you make, I'm just on my desk calculator here. Let's say you make $75,000 a year. And so Curtis wants you saving 15 to 20% of that. So let's just do 15%. Or more. Okay. Don't let my minimum be your maximum. The more you can, there's wealthy people that save like 30, 40% of their income, 50% of their income. And because they're not all about consumption. Okay. So If you look, matter of fact, let me go to the next slide while I figure this out. See, well, this is George Clayson. He says, if you have not acquired more than a bare existence in the years since we were used. This is not George Clayson, but this is from the book, The Richest Man in Babylon. And this is a talk early in the book, like the first chapter, with Arcad, who was in the story, The Richest Man in Babylon. But he, the chariot maker, and his friends is like, well, wait a minute, we all had the same teacher who went to school. How are you so much richer than us? And then his answer was, if you have not acquired more than a bare existence since we were used, it is because you have either failed to learn the laws that govern the building of wealth, or you do not observe them. All right. And so one of the things, I always talk about principles. I should have put a slide up here, but you should know this. All Curtis does is you have to master the basics and never get off them. So the basics are, let me put it in not the rich dad, the Richest Man in Babylon terminology. There's three really core things in there. The book is powerful, right? Especially if you're going to start thinking like the banker, right? And because we teach people infinite banking, which is step 2 in my system. So like step 1 is principles. Principles drive strategy. Banking is a strategy, and strategy drives tactics. Tactics are products you buy. So a lot of people call me, oh, I want whole life. I want to, or don't know the difference between whole life, universal life, and they want to be the bank. But that's leading with the product. That's the end of the story. Products are tools of implementation, and products should be a result of your knowledge, of your principles, of your strategy, not a substitute for them, because there's no financial product that will take you to glory, because the financial products in and of them are designed to make the institutions rich. All financial products are built with these 4 things in mind. They want your money. They want it on a regular basis. They want to keep it as long as possible. And when do they want to give it back? Never, but let's just say as slow as possible, right? And so what is your goal? You want passive income greater than expenses, or in our system, we call that getting to the glorious position of FU, when you can do what you want when you want. That's a capability. Passive income greater than your expenses. Jim Rohn says being able to live like you want to live from the income from your personally invested assets. So let's talk about the 7 cures for a lean purse, because basically, if you cut me open and say what I do, I teach this. Part of all you earn is yours to keep, right? Part of all you earn is yours to keep. Pay yourself first. Okay. That's what the rest of this talk is about. But how do you do that? Well, budget thy expenses. That's lesson 2, which means manage your cash flow. 3 is make your goal multiply. That's velocity. So because people say, I want to invest, but you haven't paid yourself first. You haven't organized your cash flow, and that you don't have any money to multiply. You don't have any money to buy assets. And so what happens is, since you don't have any money, and the financial industry is based on this, you've got to get, 8, 10, 12, 14% returns, because you ain't putting no money away. So you need to take risk, basically. But risk means probability of loss. So the only way to win by finding better investments that pay a higher rate of return. That's what you're sold, is to take more risk. Risk means probability of loss. What I want you to do is understand principles and learn to be a good steward of your money. Principle 3, make your goal multiply. Principle 4, make of your home a profitable investment, which means don't buy too big a house. A house, to quote Rich Dad, is not an asset, but it is an asset, but it's not a productive asset. Let's just say it's a place to live. What's the 4th one? I'm going blank now. The 4th one, the 5th one. That's the 4th one. The 5th one is guard your treasure from loss. Invest with insurance. Don't invest in things you don't understand, because if you don't understand, you're not investing. You're speculating. Ensure future income, which is you want to build assets that cash flow. So when you can't work or don't want to work, your assets go to work for you. You can only 2 things way to make money. You got people working or money working. All right. And then the 7th cure is increase thy ability to earn. So are you reading a book a month on money? Are you going to masterminds? Are you listening to podcasts? Are you listening to audiobooks? Are you journaling? Are you making yourself smarter, right? What are the 3 rules that we talk about of investing? Invest in what you know, invest in what you can control or influence the outcome of, or go back to invest in what you know, invest in knowing, right? If you don't know anything, here's a hint. If everybody's doing it, do the opposite. Okay, that's a good, if 99% of the people are broke and there's 1%ers, then to me, it makes a lot of sense. So what are the 1%ers doing? How do they save money in taxes? How do they invest? What do they invest again? How do they think about money? I would start a serious that's what I started doing. And it kind of took me out of being typical buy term investor difference, max out your 401k. It's like, yeah, rich people don't do this. What do they do? And this is, has led me to what we do at Practical Wealth and we talk about in the Practical Wealth Show. So let's talk about the current problem with managing cash flow. See, most people are budgeting. Budgeting is looking at history. Okay. That's like driving your car and looking through the rear view mirror, but you're trying to go forward. And so there's so much stuff. You've got pay weekly, bi-weekly, you've got bank drafts coming out of your account. We've got all these subscriptions. You may write checks. You've got Venmo. Hardly nobody writes checks. You got all these auto pays, credit cards, debit cards, paying cash, cash app, that kind of stuff. Are withholding and under withholding of taxes, like 80% according to the IRS had their W-4 filled out wrong, which is a huge drain on your cash flow. How do you know your W-4 is filled out wrong? You get a refund. If you're making any money and you're, some people don't really make money, you get to earn income credit, and that's you're just getting back free money. But if you're working and you're getting $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 of refunds, you should adjust you should get with your tax person and adjust your W-4. Do it. Google that. I might see if I can get a good one and put it in the show notes. All right. So now what happens is what we teach is you want to organize. So if you're watching this, you want to organize yourself. So this goes to budget that expenses. So I don't like budgeting. Again, I like forecasting. I like mapping out your cash flow. So this is a sample from a map we take all our clients through, where it's like, okay, you need different accounts. This is on the personal side. We do the same thing on the business side. I think I have that slide in here next, whereas we're saying, okay, you need an account for your income coming in, and then you need another account to cover your fixed bills, fixed that are predictable in timing and amount. They're static. They're going to be the same. Then you should have an account for long-term savings. So that's really the point of this thing. I'm going to show you how to do that. And then you've got variable expenses. And then you need to solve for that, because that's where, when people say, I don't know where my money goes, that's where that comes from. All right. So now, and then we do the same thing on the business side. So one of the things that our firm does is we'll look at, okay, well, here's your business stuff. And then how do you pay yourself? How much does it cost to run your life? A lot of people in businesses is, well, I'm bootstrapping, I'm plowing it back into the business, and they're commingling everything, and it got the credit's bad, and they're not setting aside money for taxes because their cash flow is a mess. So even if you're a real good real estate investor and you're flipping and your business is doing well, you really don't know up from down, because even if you do I will take the information to solve on, if you're looking at the map, to create the map from your P&L. A lot of people don't even know how to read their profit and loss. What is it saying? And what the information you can garner from that. Maybe your prices are too low, and you've got a lot of money that you're not collecting. Like, you have to watch that. That's what gets measured, gets done. You have to focus on that like weekly, at least monthly. But I look at my P&L every week. I need to know, if not every day, I need to know what came in. Did anybody pay us today? Did I add to my email list today? What are the things that make money? So one of the things that we coach people, we get people intensely focused on paying attention. My dad used to tell me when I first got into the financial business, said, listen, we were from retail, and your store's got to be open. Okay, he says. So he'll ask me, is your store open? Did you work today? What did you do today? Did you make any money today? Did you ring the cash register today? And so those are questions I ask people to think about, because they just kind of open the doors up. Oh, I'm here, but they don't focus on making money. I mean, it's unbelievable. So now let's talk about wealth capture. All right. And the wealth capture account or the wealth coordination account. So this is the account. So when one of the things that we help people do, or the first thing I help people do is to because I need to exercise your wealth, your saving muscle, right? So the key to velocity is you have to capitalize, which so capitalizing means save money. All right. So let's say you're making 75 grand a year, right? And not gross. And I want you to save 15% or more of your gross income. So let's just say 15. Okay. So 15%, what you should do is do this. All right. So take your gross annual pay or monthly and multiply that by 15%. So if I do it annually, that's $11,250 a year, right? And I'm not talking about going to the 401k, because what happens is if you're just doing that, you'll have too much money where you can't touch it and you're gonna lock it up for 30 years. You don't have any money for emergencies. So when something happens, since you ain't got no access to capital, yes, I say ain't, you have to do what? Use somebody else's money. So now you've had to put it on a credit card and now you have spent money you don't have, and you've used future earnings as collateral, which now adds to your fixed money. And now you're paying, transferring your wealth to the financial institution plus the principal plus the interest to use somebody else's money. This is where the banking thing comes in, because 35 cents every dollar leaves your account in the form of debt to others. And so without even chasing returns, if you just learn to get control of your cash flow and control the banking function and get that money coming back to you, you're halfway to the winner's circle. Okay, stop wasting money. So now let's just break this down. This is going to be the foundation of this talk. So now you take that number. So it's $11,250. So let's say now you get paid um biweekly, right? So that's 26 pays. So that's $432 a pay. Okay. So can you go to, so here's your assignment. Go to HR and see if you can create a separate account. So when I say separate, no debit card access, no checks. You can transfer it later because it's not going to stay here, but you've got to, this money is set aside for you to grow and to make money. First, we may have, a month or two or three for emergencies. And but because here's the thing, savings, because what most of y'all do is you say, well, I got money, I'm going to pay my bills, and if I have any money left over, I'm going to see if I can save it. That is the attitude of a poor person or a middle class person. Okay. And so savings can't be last, because you will never have any leftover money. You'll figure out a way to spend it. Okay. You have to pay yourself first. I'm telling you, this is critical. And so, like, if you never heard me again, if you just do this, I've got people that, like, we've got on this part of the program. I don't even let them do infinite banking. Yeah. I said, listen, just see if do this. I need to see if you can save some damn money. Okay. And so just that process over like a month, 2 or 3, I don't make them wait that long, but sometimes when we're doing their bank, their private reserve, their policy, it might take a little while if they have underwriting issues. But now when they've got disciplined at doing this, we've looked up and they got 4, 5, 6 grand saved. Okay, 90 days. It's because they get, especially if I have people that do a lot of overtime and they just put the overtime in there also. And now you've made it automated, then you get used to it. So when you make more, you save more of that money and you're just stockpiling this money. And then it's like, wow, you get, now mentally you get creative because you don't want to drop tank. You want to be able to keep this money forward, going forward, and then you'll get creative. And I don't mean cutting back. I'm not saying you can't go to Starbucks. I'm just saying, listen, you got to live on 85% of every dollar that you make. And then because what you make, part of all you earn is yours to keep. That's the decision. Now, managing your cash flow is the tactical way to to follow through on your philosophy that you've adopted. Okay. And so you got to have it. And then savings has to be automatic and systematic, because what happens when you don't have savings? So as soon as something comes up, you've got to go into debt. You've got to, you're breaking up, compounding, which is why we use the insurance, because you get access to capital and uninterrupted compounding. And so if you're looking at the screen on the YouTube video, then here's the flow. And this is where IBC fits in the way we teach it. So we say work, earn, save, right? You do your wealth coordination account. That is just so that I can help people get organized with their cash flow so they're confident that they can put away some money, right? So people ask me, well, what is this is a separate talk, but the question I get is, well, how much does it cost? And the right question is, how much can I get in to the account? Not how much does it cost, because it's a saving strategy, right? And so the wealth coordination, we hold it there, and then some of that will transfer to, if you're looking at the screen, your properly structured dividend paying whole life insurance, or as we call it, your private reserve account. And now you're capitalizing your banking system. Okay. Now, what we do is we show people what do you use that money for? Major capital purchases, anything you can't pay for in full within your monthly cash flow, or opportunities to invest for coaching, for businesses, for real estate, for tour, whatever. Okay. And then what do you do? Hopefully, if you're buying assets for cash flow because you're trying to become financially free in a decade or less, then that kind of orders your thought. You've got to buy assets that generate cash flow so that it starts your earned income, your passive income begins to match your earned income. That is what you're working for. So if you have that goal, also, we'll talk about this another day, that kind of dictates what you invest in. Because I'm you're all over the place and you're unfocused and you're chasing stuff, you're chasing returns. Oh, I'm getting extra rate of return. Rate of return is a trick of the accumulation theory. Okay. Wealthy people focus on velocity of their money and cash flow and leverage. They don't care about rate of return. They don't care about dollar cost averaging. Okay. That's a middle class mindset, because typical advice is designed for the middle class who don't save any money and they need a rate of return and they're not willing to learn about how money works. I always tell people, listen, if you don't want to learn how your money works, don't call me. Okay. So I'm telling you now, don't call me, because it's your money. It's not Curtis's, right? And so I am the guide and I'm going to put you on the path, right? I'm Yoda or Obi-Wan. I like Obi-Wan. I'm Obi-Wan. Okay. And you're Luke. And so I've introduced you to the Force, but you still have to go through the Jedi trials to be a Padawan and become a Jedi Knight. Okay, so I lost half of y'all people that are not science fiction nerds like me, but just you got to apprentice and learn how to get control of your money. Okay, stop just blindly giving it away to other people and hoping some fund manager smarter than you. Hope is not a good strategy. So what's the formula? Cash, make money, save money, buy assets that generate cash, save that cash, and wash, rinse, and repeat. And then what you're doing with your flow is your everything above emergency money you should be using to buy or build more cash flowing assets. So I want you to think like you're a little hedge fund, right? Your little Berkshire Hathaway, and you're looking for things that you can buy, businesses you can buy. There's internet businesses you can buy if you know something about marketing, and you can kind of revive those from the dead. You can businesses you can buy. There's real estate. Entrepreneurs solve problems for a profit. But I'm going to tell you, the game is won and lost with cash flow management. Okay. So telling your money where to go, literally saying, okay, if you're in business, what do? You have to, okay, I've got X amount of revenue coming in. You've got to, pick a target. A good book to get the foundation of what I'm talking about here is Profit First by Mike Michalowicz, and setting up the 4 foundational accounts. And so I have been following that for now 3-4 years. And I'm telling you, that's where the rubber meets the road. And so we've kind of taken that concept with our software and brought it onto the personal finance side, and then kind of marrying the personal finance and the business. So if your business owner listen to this, I'm going to put at the bottom of this, I think I have it in here. If you're looking at the show, well, listen to the podcast, but also, where the heck is it? Is you can go to our website at practicalwealthsolutions.net, and on the top there's a link to get our free book, Budgeting Stinks. And if you want to hear more about how to get control of your cash flow, you can reach out. Continue to listen to our show. Find us on YouTube. And so I hope this was helpful. Guys, you just understand, this is not a willpower thing. Savings has got to be automatic and systematic. And, if the first thing you got to do is you've got to make the decision how much of your money is yours to keep. Okay. And you work for it. I think you should treat yourself well first. And I still want you to go on vacation. You just have to adjust, because what you have to do, in Nelson Nash's words, you have to whip Parkinson's law. Parkinson's law says that expenses will rise to meet income. So if you make more, you're going to spend more, right? So one of the things that we teach is you need to create a lifestyle ceiling where okay, my life costs $6,000 a month. So if I get a raise and I get a bump, and now, I'm making, 100 grand, I'm making $9,000 a month gross. I'm not going to automatically go buy a bigger car, a bigger house. I'm going to save that because I need to build more liquidity. I need to look at ways I can make new money passively outside of my earned income. I've got to make sure I've got proper insurances so that if I get sick, we pass away, if we get sued, you've got insurance to cover that kind of stuff. So this is part of our overall holistic planning process, where we, basically make people look at that stuff and see where you are vulnerable and are protected. So, planning starts with provisioning and protecting yourself against all things that could come at you, not with some crystal ball hoping a market goes up. That is not planning. That's speculating at best. All right. So guys, have a great day. Hope this was helpful as a start. Part of all you earn is yours to keep. I'm Curtis May. I hope you enjoy this. Have a fantastic day.